Hello and welcome to Who Watches Who, a Doctor Who podcast with me, Matthew, and as always...
Hello, I'm Scott.
Hello, Scott. It is the end of the month, and the end of the month, of course, as always, since the dawn of time, means it's the Doctor Who News Roundup, woohoo, and it's been a busy month, news-wise, in that we did 2 bonus episodes we weren't expecting of doing of breaking news, so, maybe we'll touch on that briefly, but if you want us to really go into those stories, look at the bonus episodes. They are dedicated entirely to the story of David Tennant coming back, and so on and so forth. And Ncuti Gatwa.
We did the Ncuti Gatwa news as well, yeah.
Yeah, which, I'm sure we'll talk about both of that in a little bit of depth in this episode, because there is a news story that relates to it. But if you want to hear our reactions to that, go listen to those bonus episodes. But for now, we will go into the news. And the first bit of news we have got is with the casting of, let's picture this person's name, Yasmin Finay?
Yeah, that sounds right, Finay.
Yeah, Finay. And I should probably open the link before I start talking. They've captioned it as Doctor Who gains its own Heartstopper as Yasmin Finay joins the cast. Is that because she was in the hit television show nobody watched called Heartstoppers?
Yeah, it just came out like last month, so I haven't watched it yet. I don't know anybody who's watched it, but apparently it's quite big on Netflix.
You can never trust what's big on Netflix. Nobody knew who Ncuti Gatwa was, and Sex Education's like one of their biggest shows. But yeah, with Heartstoppers, it's one of those shows. I saw the trailer, and the trailer got pushed to me through the algorithm a lot because it's very similar to this type of shows that I watch. And I watched the trailer, and I went, "This is not for me. This is a show not for me."
It's one of those things where you put on Netflix, and all of a sudden when you get a trailer, and it's always seems to be that for a little while. There was a few days, and it was constantly that. It's not my type of show, but it seems like Sex Education, but gay.
Yeah,
that's the best way I could describe it.
I'm pretty sure it's. Maybe I'm misremembering it, but I think it's the trailer I got showed anyway starts with a character being like, "Hey, I'm your token straight friend," and I was just like, this type of dialogue isn't my jam. But if you like it, who cares? It's a show.
It's interesting to note that's the only thing she's cast as on like IMDb or Wikipedia. It's the only thing she's got her name attached to, so it's impressive that she immediately jumps to Doctor Who as in her next project.
Yeah, but we'll talk about why that happened, I think, in a minute. I'll keep reading this first. So, Yasmin Finay has joined the cast of Doctor Who playing the character of Rose, and it is filming scenes that are due to air in 2023 to coincide with the show's 60th anniversary, currently captivating audience with her performance as Ella Argent in Heartstoppers. Yasmin is receiving rave reviews across the globe. So, the real big news that they kind of just slip into that announcement is that she's playing a character called Rose, which to some people broke their brain. Because some people were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they're recasting Rose," and it's just be another lady called Rose. Named after Rose, more likely. Which relates to all the news is kind of intertwined at the moment. It's a big mess of news, but.
Yeah, it wasn't helped by the fact that news reports like Variety started reporting, "Oh yeah, she's playing Rose Tyler, who was famously played by Billie Piper," and it's like, no, but that's not in the press release at all, so why are you reporting this?
Yeah, I know.
It just adds so much confusion. It was really dumb. Yeah. And I think conversation's still going on about her being recast, and it's like, no, get it through your head.
People are dumb. But Yasmin said, speaking about joining Doctor Who, "If anyone would have told 8-year-old Yasmin that one day she'd be part of this iconic show, I would have never in a million years believed them. This show has a place in so many people's hearts, so to be seen as a trans actress by the legend himself, Russell, has not only made my year, it's made my life. I cannot wait to begin this journey, and for all of you to see how Rose blossoms." puns.
Get it?
Get ready. I love, she's said a pun in her, humble speech immediately. She's the best companion. That's what you want. You slip that pun in there, Russell T. Davis also added, life on Doctor Who gets brighter and wilder. How can there be another Rose? Another Rose. There's one you should be listening. You'll find out in 2023, but it's an absolute joy to welcome Yasmin to the Doctor Who set. We all fell in love with her in Heartstoppers, one of these shows which changed the world, apparently, and now Yasmin can change the Whoniverse, which I feel like is Russell T. Davis's MCUing, because that was the big rumor, is he wants to MCU, and his branding he's come up with is the Whoniverse, and I hate that. It feels clunky. Whoniverse.
I've heard the term Whoniverse long before Russell T. Davis says it. I don't know when.
I've never heard it before in my life.
Yeah, I'm in a lot of Doctor Who fan groups on Facebook, and a lot of them are very toxic, so I wind up leaving them. But I recall a lot of people just calling it the Whoniverse, which is fine.
It's fine.
What else would you call it?
The Doctor Who cinematic experience on television on the channel BBC One at 7 o'clock, sometimes 8, sometimes 6. Usually on a Saturday, maybe it's a Sunday.
Usually, yes. I do wonder if Russell D. Davis is going to bring it back to Saturday evenings.
I hope so, because it makes recording a lot easier.
It really does.
But Yasmin's casting, you've attached a document here which I thought was very interesting, and this was, I assume, posted several months ago by Andy Pryor casting directors, teaming up with BBC One Drama for an open casting call, which means that you don't really need an agent, anybody can go in it, they're looking for members of the public, and this is what it said. Andy Pryor Casting are currently searching for a young UK-based trans female male actor, I think that is. So female from male, maybe. Femme male.
Trans femme.
I don't know enough trans terms, unfortunately. They're looking for a trans actor, is what it says. Young looking 17 to 18-year-old to play 15. Of mixed black and white heritage. The character has one black British parent and one white British parent. That's important for later. For a very nice guest lead specifically as well, in a major BBC drama. And they called this character Lily, which is a type of flower, much like a rose.
I remember seeing this casting call months ago. I feel like I should have caught on to the fact that the character is called Lily.
Yeah. Lily is clever, creative, and confident. That said, Lily does feel the weight of being perceived as different, but doesn't let it get in her/their way. Lily is caring, thoughtful, and very perceptive, an incredibly fast learner who will do anything she/they can do to look after those who are important to her, them. Lily has grown up in London in So accent, that's some terrible typing. In So accent can be anything from strong London to a neutral RP or MLE, multicultural London English, which at that point, why did you abbreviate it? Must be available to film for blah de blah, and this is a professionally paid project. So the interesting information to take from here is this is obviously about Rose at this point. We've deduced that with our amazing detective skills. Playing a 15-year-old, which, how many years has it been since Donna was on our screen? Not quite
since
15.
About 2009. It's about 13 years, so roughly.
You could push it up if it's coming out, in 2023. 14, 15 years. One black and one white British parent is also important because that one white British parent, we are putting a lot of money on being Donna. This is the theory we've got going, and it plays heavily into our next news topic, which has got my anxiety levels through the goddamn roof because it's seeming more true every passing moment. So Rose is Donna's daughter. Is what we're thinking, and she ends up teaming up with the Doctor and probably with Rose as well. The saying it's a guest lead makes me think maybe it's just for this special, and that makes the leak seem more real to me.
Which we'll get to.
But interesting stuff. You should keep an eye out for BBC open casting calls because you could end up being cast in Doctor Who.
Yeah. just saying this earlier, I don't think Rose is going to be the new companion.
No.
because mainly because she's only been seen filming with David Tennant at the moment. I don't think Ncuti Gatwa is going to be in this special with Rose and David Tennant. It's confusing. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah. That's that. We'll just talk. We'll move right into this second news because it's becoming more relevant to the conversation, and that was a very large leak on Reddit, or supposedly large leak on Reddit.
Yeah, which came about 12 days before Rose got announced, so it adds a lot into it. Most of it seems true so far. So.
Yeah, which is it's driving me insane that most of it is true, because there's a huge part of it that I kind of don't like, but I'm kind of excited if it is true, but also I kind of don't like it, but also maybe it's going to be great. But here we go. So, major spoilers below. If you don't want to hear what these leaks say, fast forward 3-4 minutes probably, because we're going to be talking about it. I will say the word "buh" when we're done, so fast forward until you hear then, or if you hear something.
It's not going to be useful when you say that word for 2 seconds.
Yeah, no, it'll be fine. So, the major spoilers, 3, 2, 1, feel free to fast forward. This is what this Reddit post said. A friend of mine works at Bad Wolf and has let slip some details about the upcoming 60th anniversary plans. They say let slip. Basically gave away the entire thing.
Yes.
This is all 100% accurate, so if you want to avoid spoilers, don't click below, supposedly. This is what it said. David Tennant and Catherine Tate are back for 3 specials. So far, we know they're back for 1.
Yeah.
After Jodi regenerates into him on a cliff top. So, Jodi's...
And so far, we know Jodi is regenerating outside of a TARDIS, so that seems like it's accurate, but also we knew that information before this leak came out, so...
True. Jodi regenerating into David Tennant was the big news a few months ago. That was the rumor going through, you know, and we were like, ha ha ha, ridiculous. And we'll go on to talk more about this leak and why suddenly it doesn't feel so ridiculous. The 3 stories are linked by the Doctor working out why he got his old face back and why he runs into Donna again after all these years. Unit are back for the first episode. True, they have been spotted on set. It's a simple and alien invasion story with the main emphasis on the Doctor reuniting with Donna again after 15 years for her. Sylvia,
which adds into the age
adds
of
into
Rose.
the Rose being 15. Sylvia and Sean return. Wilf is mentioned, but I don't know if he appears because Bernard Cribbins is now 93. We do know that Bernard Cribbins is back. We have seen him on set as well. Donna has a daughter called Rose. 100%, 100% that is true. And Rachel Taylor also directs the first special, which, has that been confirmed?
Yep, we've seen her on set.
That's confirmed true as well. Oh, and a Classic Companions returns in the final special, but I don't want to ruin that surprise. That's all I know for certain at the moment, but I imagine something will be announced in the next week or 2 as filming begins. So, out of that entire...
Which also, that final part was true as well. Something will be announced in the next week or 2.
It was Rose, wasn't it? So that entire spiel, the only thing that hasn't really been confirmed as true is Jodi regenerates into David Tennant.
Yeah.
Because, you know, maybe that bit isn't true. Maybe she's going to regenerate into Ncuti. But if we think about the only filming we've seen in Doctor Who at the moment, it has only been David Tennant. Nobody has seen Ncuti on set filming.
And there's a lot going on Twitter at the moment pointing out that Ncuti Gatwa hasn't been listed as the 14th Doctor anywhere. Yeah. So does David Tennant then become the 14th Doctor? 14th. Because God, I hope not.
And Ncuti becomes the 15th.
I don't want David Tennant to be 2 Doctors. He's already been 2 Doctors before. He
regenerated into himself, didn't he?
So this will be the 3rd Doctor he's been.
He loves David Tennant's face, the Doctor does. But see, it's so hard for because I don't think I like it. But if it happens, I would like jump out of my seat in excitement. Like if it happens, like I would freak out. Like, oh my God, this is so cool. But in my head, the thing I don't like about it is it almost makes it feel like you're making Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi, and Jodi's seasons not canon anymore,
Yeah.
because you're going back to, no, this was the Doctor when I was in charge of the show, and he's the Doctor again, and he'll regenerate into my Doctor next, not the Matt Smith Doctor, and we'll just carry on from there. You don't need to watch those previous seasons, which really, I don't like, because I love those seasons. They're some of my favorite stories, some of my favorite Doctors. And to kind of reboot that show into the way where David Tennant comes back and disregards the previous regenerations, I think it's an interesting idea. It's definitely a different idea that Doctor Who's never done before, which, if you think back to when Russell T Davies was writing the scripts, he was like, oh, I'm doing stuff that I've never thought about doing. It's very exciting, and it fills me with this anxiety that people are going to look at the Matt Smith, Capaldi, and Jodi era as like the dark era of Doctor Who when nobody was watching it, and they had to reboot the show from David Tennant again because it was such a huge failure, and that's just simply not the case.
Because that adds into something we've been talking about in David Doctor. The 50th anniversary for a lot of people was like the last time we actually watched Doctor Who, when that was heavily on like Russell Davies lore. It was about the Time War. It had the Doctor and Billy Piper, the 10th Doctor and Billy Piper back. And this is what I'm worried about. I'm worried about it being just too much fan service and just too much nostalgia baiting.
I'm not even too fussed about the fan service and nostalgia baiting. Bring them back, but also bring back Capaldi and Matt Smith. And there's was rumours that Capaldi's back as well. Nothing's been confirmed about that. He was maybe spotted around the right area.
we don't know.
We have no idea. But if Capaldi's back, it fills me with more hope that Jodie's not going to regenerate into David Tennant, and we're just getting a multi-Doctor story, which I would so much more prefer, because as simple as multi-Doctor stories are, this is what I said in our breaking news with Ncuti Gatwa. I cannot think of a greater way to introduce his Doctor than having every other Doctor pass him the torch, and work with him and be like, oh, you're the Doctor now, that's awesome. Whereas regenerating into David Tennant disregards the history of Doctor Who for me, and then he regenerates into Ncuti, and it's like, okay, we're going again. This is the start,
Yeah, bringing back David Tennant and Catherine Tate is just like, oh yeah, this is Series 4 again.
Yeah, this is
It's just Series 4 again. It's like it's like a sequel to the 2009 specials with David Tennant.
Yeah,
it's like, I'm not sure how to feel about, especially for 3 specials. If this is true, I'm not too keen on this. I would be keen on different specials being like, the next special is Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldridge. The following special is like, I don't know, Matt Smith and Karen Gillan or something like that. That would be kind of fun. But
God, I want the 60th anniversary and then go straight into the new season. Have the 60th be a multi-Doctor story. Ncuti starts off his new season, ready to go. Keep it simple. But I guess with Russell, they've got all this creative freedom now with the BBC losing it. And you can do what you want, and why not try to go big? Why not do something that's going to make people go, oh my god, and get people watching again? Because if you said Jodie Whittaker regenerates into David Tennant, I mean, that's our most downloaded podcast episode, is David Tennant is back. Probably not. It's people... As awful as it is for, the more hardcore audience of the Doctor Who, we're so metal, would be, the casual audience likes David Tennant, and they like watching David Tennant and stuff. And if you said David Tennant's back in Doctor Who, people will watch that. And if you said David Tennant is the new Doctor again, people will watch that. And if you're rebooting this universe, or even soft rebooting this universe, to do this huge, big tie-in, MCU style Doctor Who thing with all these spin-off shows, which actually I saw a leaked photo from a set where it looked like Russell T Davies was talking to a camera, and people were like, Doctor Who Confidential's back. Which if that is the case, and you want to get as many eyes on screen as possible, the best way of doing that is to have the Doctor regenerate into David Tennant. But
I think also the best way of doing that is, David Tennant stars in this special with a new Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa. And then immediately you'll get teases about future storylines with Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor, and you'll entice people to come in again, because once David Tennant leaves these 3 specials...
They will leave again, though. Yeah, the people will leave again. Yeah.
I would hope there's enough in there for people to be like, okay, I want to watch what happens next with Ncuti Gatwa to see what comes up next. I hope I have faith in Russell T Davies. I think he's a really good showrunner. He's
think
a great writer.
Regardless of what choice Russell makes, even if I don't agree with it, he'll make it good. Because, he knows characters and he knows how to write a compelling story. Another thing to mention as well that makes me worried that this David Tennant regeneration thing is accurate. He has a different sonic screwdriver, and he was holding it up all confused. I was like, oh no, why is he looking all confused? He's confused as to why am I this doctor? What's going on?
David Tennant is just so old at this point, he doesn't know what's going on around him.
Yeah. So it's a spooky time, but before I think we're gonna finish the spoilers. So...
Either way, seeing all these leaked set recordings of the cast, like Bernard Cribbins is back. Yeah. That's awesome to see. Catherine Tate and David Tennant. Seeing all this makes me excited. Makes me feel like I'm back in 2008, just on the internet, wanting my next leak or something. I'm excited. I'm cautiously optimistic as well. But mostly excited, I think.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Is I hate the idea of Jodi regenerating into him. But if it happened, I would lose my mind. I would be so excited if it happened because I, at heart, am an idiot fanboy of the show.
Yeah.
And
I think this would bring in a lot more viewers to the Centenary special to see if David Tennant will actually be in that episode at the very end.
Maybe they've done no marketing for it though, so But anyway. There you go. That's the end of the spoiler talk. And we'll move on to our next piece of news. Scott, if you want to take this.
Oh, yeah. So in the recent Doctor Who magazine, number 577, imagine reading all those magazines together in one sitting. That'd be massive. But Chibnall gave a massive interview looking back on his era. And here are some highlights on that. So firstly, he was talking about I will break it down as we go along each one and just talk about the era as a whole, because this is one of our last times actually talking about the Chibnall era, which is kind of sad.
Well, we'll be talking about the Chibnall era later on this year. When we do like a retrospective sort of dive through Chibnall's writing. But yeah, it's going to feel weird talking about, how terrible Russell T Davies's scripts are and how nothing's making sense, and we're going to be longing for the days of the timeless child, missing Chris Chibnall. He's played such a prominent part in our lives this past year.
He really has. I think we all just go through phases of hating the current showrunner, because I remember hating Russell T Davies, I remember hating Moffat, and obviously I remember hating Chibnall. I still do, but I like him as a person.
I think he seems like such a nice person.
Yeah.
Going through these interviews, I was like, oh my god, he seems so lovely. I feel bad for making fun of his writing. I think Chibnall's really the first showrunner I haven't liked, because famously I have been a defender of Moffat my entire life. I think he was amazing. And I was like a kid when Russell T Davies was in charge, so I didn't know who he was at all.
Yeah. I was very critical of Moffat, but as the time goes on, I'm softening a bit more on him.
Because you were
like
an edgy edgelord teenager.
I actually was, yes.
And I was like a preteen, so everything he was doing, I was like, this is so good and clever. And all the edgy 16-year-olds are like, oh my god, it's too bad.
But I would hope I come around to the same realization about Chibnall's era. Maybe take some snippets of this interview and be like, oh yeah, I can see where he was coming from here. But we want to go into the interview now. So his first quote is on appearing on the television criticizing Trial of Time Lord season as a teenager. We've all seen that classic clip, and Chibnall says, there's a clip of me on YouTube that everybody watches, and it might suggest that I was cross about everything in Doctor Who. But no, it was just that particular story. Also, I was a grumpy, mouthy, opinionated 16-year-old who got called up on a Saturday night by someone saying, do you want to go on telly tomorrow? And I didn't prepare anything. It's hilarious. And then to think you end up in that job.
Yeah, see, we were just talking about being an edgy teenager. Even Chris Chibnall was an edgy teenager that hated Doctor Who at one point. It's a phase for every Whovian. You just end up hating Doctor Who at some point.
But a lot of people have been using that clip as like, oh yeah, Chibnall criticized the show.
We played it in the podcast.
Did we?
Yeah, many months ago. I think one of maybe the first, possibly even the second or third news episode, we played the clip. I remember editing it in in one of the episodes.
Do you remember the context?
We were talking about it. And we were
Okay.
we were probably like, God, because I think we were talking. Oh, sorry, I hit my mic. I think we were talking about people making fun of him because of the clip, and we were like, "Here's the clip," and then we were like, "It is pretty bad," to have that come back and haunt you. Maybe I'm misremembering that, and if a listener remembers better, send in an email at whowatcheshwhopod@gmail.com and correct me. Ooh.
But yeah, a lot of people have been using that as like he was saying the show is bad. Then he went on to write really bad episodes, which is like, I think unfair on him, because I don't think he intentionally went in and be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to write bad episodes. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I think he hates Doctor Who, definitely. He's watched it since he was a kid, loathes the show. He's worked on the show since the Russell T Davis's era? He did Torchwood. He did Torchwood.
Yeah, he did Torchwood.
Yeah, so
in 2005.
yeah. He's worked on the show since it came back. He hates it, definitely. Fake fan.
Yeah, he just wants to ruin the lore and all that. And speaking of the lore, we're talking about the Timeless Child storyline, which we were very critical of, and we are doing that very soon. And
we tried so hard not to be critical of it, didn't we? Do you remember the first episode of Flux? And we were like, God, maybe this will be great. Maybe this is going to answer all our questions.
It turns out maybe he doesn't want to answer any of our questions. So yeah, we'll just read on about... so this is Chibnall speaking. I had a sense of quite a lot of the Timeless Child story, and there are little hints in the first episode. The Doctor says, it's been a long time since I bought women clothes. And in the second episode, you hear the remnants mention the Timeless Child. These lines were little nods to what we were going to do. I wanted to excavate what the Doctor knew about themselves and ask, what if that's not the whole story? Because there are so many incredible gaps. There's a whole encyclopedia of stuff we don't know about the Doctor. It's all tied in to cast a woman to play the Doctor. The thing I wanted to dispel was the sense that there was a locked-in, fixed myth, and the only stuff that counts is what's been on screen so far. I wanted to expand the on-screen universe to create a sense that you could have as many Doctors as you want.
See, I understand where he's coming from. I completely get it. It's just that it's a bad idea. I hate the idea of the Doctor being a god. I hate the idea of there being infinite versions of the Doctor, of them always saving the day, of them always being throughout history and being this, as he puts it, literally the myth of the Doctor coming and saving it. I like the idea of the Doctor being an adventuring scientist that, is a bit weird and can regenerate, but there's even a limit to that. They have flaws. They have a semblance of mortality, but it's so far away from what our understanding is that they do all these insane things. And I like the idea of them just wanting to see the world and be an adventurer, not being this giant cosmic god that's been around since the dawn of time.
I agree with you. I just like him being a regular person who just wanted to escape from their home and travel he didn't want to travel with stars. He just wanted to escape.
He just wanted to get away from the Time Lords because they were boring bureaucrats.
Well, yeah, I think it takes away so much to just make him like, oh yeah, he's a god, basically. An entire civilization is due to him, basically.
Yeah.
And
yes,
as he says, he doesn't like the lore staying consistent because there's so much gaps to fill in. There's like the whole season 6B theory, which is after the second Doctor regenerates, he went on to do several missions with the Time Lords, which is where he could fit in the Fugitive Doctor, because you don't see the second Doctor actually regenerate into John Pertwee. You just see him, But another thing about the lore is it's not consistent. Like in the books, we find out more about Time Lord civilization, because this whole thing called looms that was in Lungbarrow, and I'll just read a little excerpt on Wikipedia. Unable to procreate sexually, the Time Lords have to rely on these Rassilon-invented devices to weave new life form-based matter and biodata. So yeah, this is so weird. And
the Time Lords can't have sex.
The Time Lords can't have sex.
Well, this ruins all of Russell T Davis's scripts.
Yeah, because the Doctor wants to fuck all the time. But yeah, I understand what you're saying about how the lore can constantly change and evolve, because obviously these books have never come into question in the show's canon, but yet some people are like, oh yeah, this is how Time Lords procreate.
It's just that his idea is so big. Like, the Time Lords procreating is this tiny piece of lore nobody cares about. The Doctor's specific history is something everybody cares about. And, you know, the idea of it being a myth without many answers, I like, because I like the Doctor being a mystery, you know, but him saying that the Doctor is this eternal god stops them being a mystery. Now I know who the Doctor is, and I don't care about them.
Yeah, because we know the Doctor is like an alien. He's not a Time Lord. He's part of another civilization we know nothing about. And Chibnall went on to speak about this and where the Doctor is actually from. I don't know, he says without a moment's hesitation. Nobody knows. But that's the point. Everything we've done goes back to that central idea. But yet, we now know more about the Doctor than we've known before, and it just removes the mystery, as we've been saying. I don't know.
Yeah, and it, you know, I like Gallifrey. I don't get. Clearly, Chibnall doesn't like Gallifrey. It's like Moffat, you know, or no, Moffat kind of likes Gallifrey. He's like Russell T Davis. They hated Gallifrey and they hated the Time Lords, and he thought they were dumb and wanted to get rid of them. Yeah, you know.
Nobody knows what to do with Gallifrey. Like, even in the original series, Gallifrey would only sometimes pop up. And
but
Gallifrey's kind of boring.
Smith's Regeneration's entire arc is about getting Gallifrey back, and the Time Lords come back and they save the Doctor by giving him more regenerations, which is apparently something they can do, which I guess was technically established when the Doctor did it, because he does it to somebody.
I mean, the Doctor is established to be the guy, the dude that gives everyone regeneration.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, now
the whole civilization.
Yeah, but yeah, no.
But there's something about that, like, kind of like just the idea of inadvertently not knowing that he caused an entire civilization of these Time Lords who just are boring bureaucrats.
You could do like paradox with it. Where, you know, the Doctor ends up traveling back to some really distant planet and they're all dying out, and he's like, don't worry, I can save you, and he ends up giving them some of his regeneration abilities, and then, oh my god, what's the name of this planet we're on? Oh, this is Gallifrey. And then the Doctor's like, oh, you know, kind of like a Fry becoming his own granddad type deal. Like, I think you could do something fun with that, and that would be kind of cool. But instead, we get the Doctor's mum is Hitler, and she gets killed in space by other Hitler.
I mean, she doesn't care. The Doctor does not care about her mum dying.
Yeah, see, that's, you know, Chibnall has good ideas, but it's the execution of those ideas, I think, is where it ends up falling flat.
Yeah, because at the end he just wants it to be like, oh yeah, the Doctor doesn't really know, so she's not going to find out any more information. And as an audience, we're sitting there kind of passively being like, what was the point of his storyline if the end result is going to be the exact same
where we started? The Doctor didn't know when we started, and at the end of it, oh, they still don't know. Awesome.
It's not that she just doesn't know; she doesn't want to know.
Doesn't care.
she puts the little watch inside of the TARDIS and is like, yeah, I don't need this, just go away.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of what the storyline was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So when,
He then went on to answer questions about the 13th Doctor facing fundamental questions about her identity, and he said, some of the inspiration for that was personal because it's an adoption myth, and I was adopted. The thing about where you're from versus who you are, that's really personal to me. I think everyone takes different things from Doctor Who, and that's why you can never say the mythology is fixed, because one person's experience of it is very different to another's, you know, and this is what I say about Chibnall being a lovely guy. It's a great sentiment, and it makes you understand how he came to his ideas, as terrible as his ideas are.
Again, I'm just so mixed about Chibnall, because at the end of the last episode of Flux, which was when the Doctor put the watch inside the TARDIS, being like, okay, I don't want to find out where it came from, I'm fine with who I am now, was kind of the best part of Flux, but also it kind of came out of nowhere, I kind of feel like.
I think my favourite part of Flux was when the giant...
Sontaran went chocolate.
No, it was when the giant men It was just like, oh no, yeah, we can just stick all the problem in this guy and he'll kill everyone. The end.
Oh God, yeah.
I forget what they're called. What were they called?
Swarm was the main villain.
Swarm was the villain. I'm talking about the guy that just followed him around with the big
passenger.
The passenger, yeah, where he just sucked up the flux and was like, yum 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 yum.
And then like all the
and then they destroyed all the universe
still,
and the Earth was just fine.
And nobody mentions of the other planets that were destroyed.
Don't worry about them.
Like, are the other planets fine now?
Sure. He also then went on to speak about the Fugitive Doctor, and he said that story is setting up questions about what happened in the gaps. There could be any number of points in the timeline where the Fugitive Doctor could belong, but we deliberately haven't said she sits here. And this is what you were speaking about earlier, with people kind of thinking that she could fit around the second, third Doctor time. I personally think she's before then. The way that they presented it to me makes it seem like she's really, like, part of a version of the Doctor before the first Doctor.
I don't like that theory, mainly because where did her TARDIS come from? Why does it look like a police box?
Yeah.
Also, why does she have a name? Well, I guess she did have a name.
It being a part of the police box would mean it would have to be the chameleon circuits broken at that point.
Yeah.
You know, which means it's before the sixth. Because he fixes it, you know, it does break again.
Yeah,
but
for one episode.
Yeah, but we'll use that as a check mark. You know, so it's before that episode. It could be after. It's not during that episode, at least. You know, and after the first, because it was a police box in the first and was since then. So
I do wonder if the comics or the audio drama that's coming out starring Joe Martin is going to address this, or if it's just
it's just another version of the Doctor. That's all it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I do wonder what their storylines are going to be then, because I don't really care about the Division. I'm sorry, or whatever organization she works for.
She works for the Division. You are correct. I think, does she? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Why not?
And also, does the Fugitive Doctor know that she's working for her mum? Or is that not part of it? Because we don't have enough of Joe Martin on screen, apart from like one episode. Other episodes are like, oh yeah, it's like a Mind Palace kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's where else we see the Joe Martin Doctor. That's the only time we've seen the Joe Martin Doctor, in one time in Fugitive Jodun. Any other time we've seen her?
Only that time in Flux, I can think.
Yeah.
And wasn't she a part of the Frog episode?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
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 No, just that one time in Flux where she's like a reflection.
Yeah.
And she's friends with the dog guy. Does the dog guy know about the Doctor's mom?
Yeah. But the dog guy had poison in his brain, don't you remember?
I forgot about the poison in the brain. Oh.
Yeah.
Classic.
If the Chibnall interview, he seems like a nice guy.
We should have him on the show.
Him.
I'd love to talk to him. I'd love to talk to him.
I love our questions to be like, why?
What did you mean by this? Why did you do this choice? You know? And I'm sure he'd have a great answer for all of it, you know, because he seems like he understands his process and he understands the choices he made. I don't think it translated from page to screen very well, you know.
We certainly don't know his process. Maybe the Centenary special will wrap it all up in a nice little bow. And we'll be like going out of it being
like Flux,
good.
like Flux
it all makes sense.
Like when we said, Flux is going to wrap up this timeless child storyline, absolutely. 100%. And then when we were like, maybe they'll do it in the new year, or maybe they'll do it at the Easter special. Yeah, they're never.
But I just remembered there was an Easter special. I don't remember a single thing of that episode apart from the gay moments.
There was like a boat and a big fish, and it like all happened in like 15 seconds. The entire story.
We spent like 4 weeks of the Sea Devils with the Sea Devils just preparing for that.
It wasn't worth it.
Those 4 weeks wasted just listening to terrible scores.
It wasn't worth it. I'm so glad we're done with the ocean for now. I'm so sick of water and Doctor Who. But speaking of water and Doctor Who. Oh, actually, no, that a better transition would be saying, speaking of the Sea Devils and our look at them, let's take our eye back to Doctor Who history on this day. In 1967, 55 years ago, Evil of the Daleks begins to air, which was due to be the last time the Daleks appeared in the show. Terry Nation withdrew the rights to use the Daleks from the BBC so that he could launch a spin-off series. This became the longest gap between Dalek stories, as they wouldn't appear again until 1972's Day of the Daleks. What my thinking with Terry Nation there is, were the Daleks the good guys? What sort of spin-off show is he trying to make where the space Nazis are the main characters?
I presume it's just a spin-off show where there's a bunch of rebellion fighters, kind of like Star Wars, where
Maybe.
a bunch of rebellion fighters in space are fighting against the Daleks. That's part of what... Yeah.
The braver choice would be doing a Starship Troopers and presenting it from the Daleks' point of view, you know?
Hold on a second. I'm pretty sure I read at one point that Blake 7 was supposed to have a Daleks appear at one point because Terry Nation made Blake 7. He was like, why not have a Daleks being here? But when the BBC were like, no, we can only use it in Doctor Who, bad Terry Nation. But that would be weird just to connect these two shows together like that.
It would make Blake 7 part of Doctor Who canon.
Our favourite show, Blake 7, maybe we'll do that one day.
I've never seen even a glimpse of an episode.
Dude, I couldn't tell you anything about the show other than it's in space.
I could tell you its name.
I don't know what the 7 refers to. I don't know who
people.
Blake
I know
is.
I know the 7 refers to the people. You know,
okay.
Like there's 7 people. I think. You know, it's like what's it called?
Babylon 5?
No, because Babylon 5 is a space station. It's not about 5 people on Babylon. No,
Star Trek,
Charlie's Angels.
Deep Space Nine.
It's like Charlie's Angels. That's what it's like.
Oh, that doesn't have a number in it.
I know it doesn't have a number in it, but I'm talking about like Charlie's Angels is like 4 people that are working with this one dude, and I'm assuming this is 7 people that work for a guy called Blake. Also, in 1982, 40 years ago, Tom Baker breaks up with Doctor Who co-star Lalla Ward after 16 months of marriage, while Colin Baker enters the Doctor Who studio for the first time, but not as the Doctor. Dun dun dun. So, 16-month marriage, very successful.
Famously very successful. And apparently it was because Tom Baker and Lalla Ward were very busy people, or they just really hated each other. I don't know which. I don't care to. I don't care to pry into the personal lives of Doctor Who co-stars.
Yeah, but what was he doing in the studio, if not being the Doctor?
Yeah, Colin Baker was in a 5th Doctor story called The Arc of Infinity. I can't remember what kind of role he played. I think he was the main villain, but kind of like Peter Capaldi in Fires of Pompeii.
I saw a photo of Colin Baker actually from that episode where he was, and it was like captioned the same because it was like side by side with the Capaldi one, and it was like, you know, if you travel around long enough as I am, sometimes you start to see the same faces.
Yeah, it's the first time I remember watching this on like DVD back in like 2007. So right before Fires of Pompeii. Also, Peter Capaldi wasn't cast as the Doctor yet, but I just remember being very confused, being like, "Why is the 6th Doctor here?" It took me a while to realize, oh wait, he's not playing the 6th Doctor. It's just Colin Baker. Yeah. It was very confusing.
Yeah. In 2002, 20 years ago somehow, John Nathan Turner dies at the age of 54. John Nathan Turner worked on Doctor Who longer than almost anybody, starting as a member of the floor crew on the Space Pirates in 1969 and taking on increasingly senior production roles. Roles, you mean? During the Letts and the I'm going to say that again. Taking on increasingly senior production roles during the Letts and Hinchcliffe eras, becoming unit production manager under Graham Williams, and finally succeeding Williams as producer in 79, a position he would retain until the series went on hiatus in 89. So he's responsible for it getting cancelled. I'm kidding, of course.
Yeah, so 10 years as the producer, which is insane. Nobody has matched him yet. Did Stephen? No, Stephen Moffat did.
No,
Moffat
did a lot as well. Yeah.
Yeah. But either way, 10 years as the show's
Davis might do it like combined his 2 eras.
Yeah, I don't count that because he had
the big gap.
What was it? 13 years gap. Yeah. But yeah, as much hate as you can say about the guy, he did do a lot of great work, because we just recently did The Curse of Fenric, and we really enjoyed that episode, apart from it being very confusing.
Yeah.
But he was a good producer, and also he was the reason that Doctor Who stayed on the air as long as it did, because I think he wanted to quit around 1983, and the BBC were like, okay, but if you quit, we're not going to find another producer, so we're just going to cancel the show. And then he was like, okay, I'm just going to stay on to keep the show running. So yeah, he was the reason the show kept on as long as it did, which is good on him.
Yeah, well done. And then if we flash forward to 2007, 15 years ago, somehow, Russell begins writing Voyage of the Damned while the... What? Oh, sorry. Russell begins writing The Voyage of the Damned while the Sun reports that Doctor Who would be taken off the air for a year after the conclusion of Season 4 in 2008, except for some specials, with David Tennant leaving midway through the season. First half of the report proved accurate and the second half less so, as Tennant ultimately stayed on for all the specials. Yeah, and they're like a mixed bag of specials. Water on Mars, obviously far and away the best one out of that lot.
And then cut forward 15 years from
and
then,
he's back again.
we're talking about
specials,
David Tennant starring in a bunch of specials. Time, man.
Time is a circle.
Just goes...
It is a circle.
Yeah.
But
15 years ago, Series 4.
Mental. And Russell is writing Voyage of the Damned, which is what we covered last year at Christmas as our, it's a pretty underrated Christmas special. Looking back on it, it's dumb, it's fun, and Kylie Minogue is pretty good in it. It's worth revisiting.
Yeah, David Tennant leaving midway through the season of specials would have been very interesting. Just Waters on Mars, all of a sudden Matt Smith is the Doctor. It would be very weird, but I'm glad it didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't happen as well. What an interesting time in Doctor Who. It always is. Shall we move into Big Finish?
Hell yes.
You want to take the first one because my throat is dry.
Hell yes. Firstly, we've got Doctor Who, The Fourth Doctor Adventures, Series 11, The 9. That's a lot of fucking numbers. These are 3 stories, which is The Dreams of Ava Rice by Guy Adams, Shell Shock by Simon Bernard and Paul Morris, and Peak Season by Lisbeth Miles.
Okay, what do you think about this cover? Because I think it's fine. I like the green and purple. That's a contrast Big Finish don't do a lot. Star Trek's in the top right corner there. Look at that. There we go. Starfleet.
Well, that's a fucking might be the thing from the Fourth Doctor's TARDIS.
It is. It's the window from the Fourth Doctor's TARDIS. Absolutely, it is, because I remember mentioning that the Doctor liked Star Trek as well when we covered The Hand of Fear.
Yeah. So these stories don't really interest me. It's about the 9 who isn't an average robber. I don't care about him. Yeah, I don't really care about this box set, but the cover is okay.
It's Fourth Doctor Adventures. He's got about 1 billion of them still to come out. So
yeah, it is always weird to see Tom Baker in the 80s, a photograph of Tom Baker in the 80s, alongside people from 2022.
Yeah,
it's very distracting.
Very strange. But
yeah,
if they had current day Tom Baker, it'd be even weirder because he's a very old man.
Yes. But yeah, the next 2 things are just the same thing. It's just separately, which I don't understand why people would do that. Buy them separately.
Save on money, I guess, if there's one you really, really want. The next one is an interesting team up.
And a really nice cover as well.
Yeah. The next one that we have got is Doctor Who Out of Time 3. Wink. Which is a Weeping Angels storyline, and maybe it's going to reference everyone's solution to beating the Weeping Angels, which is winking at them.
Yeah.
And
do you want to read what it's about?
I was getting to it. When the 6th Doctor goes sightseeing on Oh boy, here we go. Lucidius Silvara, he finds himself in a place where nothing is visible at all, only an all-encompassing light. The 10th Doctor is drawn in by a temporal anomaly, and the two Doctors meet a species with no sense of sight, living in a city surrounded by weeping angels. To save a civilization, the Doctors must keep their eyes on the angels. Don't blink. Don't even wink. So they've answered it right there. Winking wouldn't save the day. But this is a really cool concept, I think. 10th Doctor, 6th Doctor, not a team up you see happening a lot of the time.
So this is the third part of a series called Out of Time. The first one had Tom Baker with the 10th Doctor. The second one had Peter Davison, his stepdad, with the 10th Doctor. And obviously
his stepdad. His father-in-law.
Sorry.
Not his stepdad.
But yeah, I'll probably get this one. It sounds interesting. It's only $8.99, which is
wow, real cheap.
A bargain in my books.
For a big finish. That's real good.
But if you look at the backstage information, recorded on to be confirmed.
Yep.
Recorded at to be confirmed.
I love how vigorous they are in getting that information updated on time.
It's my turn to get the next one. This is a 7th Doctor adventure called Silver and Ice. This is our first time with the 7th Doctor in Big Finish. This is the first time we've actually talked about him, because he hasn't done a story in like a year. Wow. I think Sylvester McCoy was stuck in France during COVID. He obviously couldn't get back to the United Kingdom, so... I mean, he became a helicopter man, if you remember that video he shot with poor Shooty Gatwa.
What a man.
The Doctor and Mel encounter old foes. I'll start that again. The Doctor and Mel encounter old foes at the edge of a galaxy. I was about to say Galaxy's Edge, but that's Star Wars.
Yeah, they're on a trip to Galaxy's Edge.
Where tinsel provides to be a dangerous commodity. Before heading to a familiar planet, going through turbulent times and meeting another old acquaintance. This has Bad Days in Tinseltown by Dan Starkey, which is the Potato Man himself.
Yes.
Strax?
Yes.
Yes, Strax.
Yes.
And then we've got the Ribos Inheritance, which is a sequel episode to the Ribos Operation, which is a 4th Doctor story. And it's by Jonathan Barnes, which is 4 parts, and the other one is 2 parts. And it obviously has Cyberman, and...
I really like this cover. I like the purpley, kind of cybery stuff it's got going on, and I love the 7th Doctor staring into my soul, or the 8th Doctor. The 7th Doctor staring into my soul as he is. It's a very intense look.
Yeah, I probably won't pick this up. I'm not the biggest Mel fan, but I hear she's better in audio, because... in the show she just screamed a lot.
Oh, okay. A regular Susan. So, our next one is a poster that is absolutely stunning. And it is called The War Master, Self-Defense. The Time War incarnation of the Doctor's best enemy is back. And the two Time Lords face each other once more. But who remembers whom? And this is a 4-part story written by different people, so it's probably not so much a 4-part as four individual ones. With the Forest of Penitence by Lou Morgan, The Players by Una McCormick, Boundaries by Lisbeth Miles, and The Last Line by Lizzie Hopley. And this is, of course, starring Derek Jacobi back as the War Master. I really like how they turned his master not just as like an incarnation of the Master that was there to forget into the actual War Master. It's some really good retconning, I think, of Doctor Who canon. And also this poster is just goddamn stunning. Jesus Christ.
It's lovely, yeah. This is a series I really need to get into, but this is the 7th box set, which is like, oh yeah, there's too much now. I'm way behind and there's no time to catch up. But only the last story has the 10th Doctor, so I guess it's only one story with the 10th Doctor, which is kind of disappointing. I would like a whole, storyline with him, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. It is what it is.
I presume this is standalone, so I may get it. I probably won't, but I may.
It's worth getting. I would have the poster as a poster. I think it's a very nice design, because it's different. We've been speaking about Big Finish designs recently because we've been getting kind of sick of them, and they've been doing these painting ones recently, which have been looking really well. This one's kind of Photoshop-y kind of painting with this blue and red split down the middle. It looks amazing.
Yeah, if you see this poster at the cinema, you just stop in your tracks and look at it because it's very eye-catching. It looks very pretty.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to go on to the next one, which is our Torchwood episode.
Yes.
Dead Plates. So you want me to wait until you get that up, or?
Jeez. Okay. Yeah. Hang on. Calm down. It's up. Okay.
So yeah, this is Dead Plates. It's a Torchwood episode, another Torchwood episode because we keep doing Torchwood, but without Captain Jack, for reasons.
Wonder why.
So yes, Billis Manger has been murdered, and he's determined to find out who did it. 4 people at dinner are the suspects, and they've each got murky secrets and at least one skeleton in the closet. What is really on the menu at one of Soho's finest restaurants, and will any of the suspects make it out alive? So this is an interesting one.
I have no interest in Torchwood on Big Finish, really, and the poster for this one, or the cover, or whatever you want to call it, I think is terrible.
It is awful. It's fine, but the photoshopped heads.
It's the heads. The heads are so distractingly bad. They are. And maybe they're like that on purpose. Maybe it's like some weird painting man that's come to life.
Maybe.
Because if you look behind him, it's a bunch of screaming people in pictures. So maybe it's like a portrait that's come to life that's putting real people into pictures instead.
I do like the screaming people. That's amazing.
Yeah. So, maybe
it's
supposed to look weird, but meh.
It's a fun concept of a dinner party where the guy is dead and he's finding out the suspect who killed him. It's fun. But not my cup of tea. This guy was only in 2 episodes of Torchwood, and I don't remember anything he did. He was a time traveler, but he didn't have any devices, so he could time travel himself. He had the power to time travel, which was very strange. Never brought up again, I don't think. Just kind of went. So
sounds like a lot of things in Torchwood.
Just kind of came and went. Get it? Came. But yeah, which one's your favorite of this bunch? I would have to say Out of Time 3, which Wink, probably.
The one that I would most likely to listen to, Out of Time, probably Wink. The one that I'm most inclined to buy, simply because I like it, is Self Defense, the War Master one. Just if I was in a shop and they had Big Finish CDs, and I had those 2 in front of me, I would choose the War Master one because that's got a more interesting looking cover.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
No, you absolutely should judge a book by its cover. Because it's there to sell you on the book.
Do you want to take up what's next?
So that's the end of our Big Finish. Deep dive into next month, and we have got some news about Blu-ray releases. Oh my goodness. For all of our Blu-ray collectors out there, I have quite a substantial Blu-ray collection now. I've been building it the past year. I just decided one day, I was like, I want to get into Blu-rays. And since then, I have started buying Blu-rays quite frequently.
Yeah. The only trouble with Blu-rays is I don't have any room, but I keep buying Blu-rays. And yeah, it's a problem. I need to stop buying Blu-rays for a while because I need to move out and make shelf space.
You just need to buy bigger boxes to keep your Blu-rays in. But the season 22 of classic Doctor Who, that is 6th Doctor territory, is coming to Blu-ray in limited edition packaging. It says, across an action-packed season of double-length episodes, Colin Baker's Doctor and companion Perry face off against a host of classic monsters and villains, including Daleks, Cybermen, Sontarans, Davros, and the Master, as well as introducing new female nemesis, the Rani, and the villainous slug-like Syl, also returning as Patrick Troughton as the 2nd Doctor and his companion Jamie. So double-length episodes? This had 40-minute episodes?
Yeah, this season had all 45-minute episodes. It was the first time it was on Saturday nights for a long time, and it was the last time it was on Saturday nights for a long time. It's a fun season from what I remember. I can only remember episodes like the Dalek episode, which was fun. Attack of the Cybermen, which we're doing very soon, I think in July, so it's a very nice coincidence tie-in for us. And yeah, the Two Doctors was fun as well. It had Sontarans in it.
Yeah, and it's a very nice looking box. You know, there's some really nice art and books in it. And this is something that I think Doctor Who does so much better than anybody else with their Blu-rays. If you're looking at modern releases for Blu-rays, special features are getting cut shorter and shorter and shorter, and there's becoming less and less stuff on the Blu-rays for you to enjoy. This is the list of stuff in the Season 22 Blu-ray. Brand new, not an import from a DVD documentary, brand new documentaries, including a making of for the Two Doctors and a nostalgic trip back for Colin Baker and Nicola Bryant to Season 22's filming locations. In conversation, not one, but 3 insightful feature-length interviews with Colin Baker, Nicola Bryant, and a special guest.
Can I say who the special guest is? It's actually Michael Grade, who was a guy who cancelled Doctor Who in the 80s.
Wow.
So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting interview.
Behind the Sofa, new episodes with actors Colin Baker, Nicola Bryant, and Terry Molly. What's Behind the Sofa?
Behind us is basically a goggle box where we're watching Doctor Who.
It's commentary.
And we cut to their reaction. Yeah. It's not commentary, it's kind of like more condensed down.
Reactions, YouTube reactions.
Yeah. And also, every episode does have still commentary, so yeah, it's very nice.
Peter Davidson, Janet Fleming, all these people are on Behind the Sofa. Extended episodes, including Vengeance on Varos and The Two Doctors Part 1. Because if there's one thing classic Doctor Who needs, it's to be even longer and slower. A Fix with Sontarans. The Doctor and Tegan battle the Sontarans in this special mini episode. Updated special...
And... the thing I could say about A Fix with Sontarans, that is famously the sketch that was featured in the Jimmy Savile show. Oh, okay. And Jimmy Savile pops up at the end, but they've cut out Jimmy Savile. I wonder why.
Mystery. Exclusive new audio commentaries with Colin Baker, Nicola Bryant, Alexis Sale, Terry Molloy, and on Revelation of the Daleks, and Colin Baker, Janet Fielding, and Gareth Jenkins on A Fix with Sontarans. Immersive 5.1 surround sound on Attack with Cyberman, Vengeance on Varos, and Revelation of the Daleks. The Eternal Mystery, a brand new mini episode of classic Doctor Who. Studio footage, rare behind-the-scenes material from Vengeance of Varos, The Two Doctors, Time Lash, and Revelation of the Daleks. Convention footage featuring actors Colin Baker and Jacqueline Pearce alongside producer John Nathan Turner. Rare gems from the archives, BBC archive material including the Colin Baker years, plus content covering the promotion of the season and the controversial hiatus. Radio serial, Slipback and a six-part radio adventure. A prototype to Big Finish, perhaps.
I believe so, yes.
HD photo galleries, including many previously unseen images. Info text, behind-the-scenes information, and trivia on every episode. Scripts, costume designs, rare BBC production files, and other rarities from our PDF archive, and lots more.
You know what else it has?
What?
You know what else it has? Doctor in Distress.
Oh my god, perfect. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
this is
12,
also
13,
including
14.
all the special features that are already on the DVDs. You know, all those commentaries, all the info text. There is a lot of shit.
It's about 17 different things, and multiple of which are feature-length long in those Blu-rays, which is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, this is a 14-episode season of 45-minute episodes, and there's more bonus features than actual Doctor Who, which is amazing, and I wish more production studios did shit like this. Like, that is a lot.
Yeah, it makes... ordering it on Blu-ray worth having, it makes it worth having on Blu-ray.
And the Blu-ray is only £44, which is a bargain for all that content.
Real cheap for a brand new Blu-ray with all that stuff on it, with all those episodes, and it's stunning to look at as well. Yeah, very impressive stuff.
But yeah, also on June 20th, the exact same day, we've got Doctor Who and the Daleks 4K. which is a very nice looking box. Is
God,
about
I
the
love
same
the
price.
art on it. I love the art on that so much.
I'm still contemplating whether I want the collector's steelbook edition or the standard edition. I don't know yet. But yeah, we've already went through this. I'll just quickly go through the special features. So the collector's edition has 4K UHD disc and Blu-ray, UK exclusive high collectible Doctor Who Daleks coin, limited to first run only, 64-page booklet with brand new essays, photos, the original press book from 1965 and much more, an exclusive mini version of Titan's forthcoming coffee book table, Doctor Who and the Daleks, the official story of the films by John Walsh, 2 posters, original artwork and brand new artwork from Johnny Dombrowski, and 4 art cards, which is decent. And we obviously just spoke about Doctor Who and the Daleks not so long ago,
Yeah,
the beginning of the month.
It'd be really useful if they released this last month for us, because then we probably, I might have got the collector's edition then for all that new information. But I might just get the steelbook for this one, because, it's a really nice looking steelbook. And as much as the collector's edition is cool, I don't need more knack.
I just want to go in for that 64-page essay document, and also the exclusive mini version of that coffee book table book.
Yeah. It's tempting. It is tempting, but it's. And it comes with a coin as well, like a really cool looking coin.
But it's £50, which is like a little bit too much.
But I might,
especially since I'm also buying the season of Doctor Who as well.
Yeah,
it's a lot of Doctor Who. It's nearly £100 I want to spend on Doctor Who next month.
Yeah, I might.
That's a lot.
I might. I'm genuinely quite tempted to. Yeah, but what else we've got is a weird book.
I don't know anything about this book. It's very weird. I don't know.
Okay, in the TARDIS library, it's called The Minister of Chance, written by Dan Freeman, to be released on the 30th of June by Arc Beetle Press. It's coming out in paperback. A spin-off novel featuring the Minister of Chance, a Time Lord character originally played by Stephen Fry in the 2001 Doctor Who webcast Death Comes to Time. The new novel has been adapted from a 2021 audio podcast series featuring the return of the character, though all mentions of Time Lords and trappings of Doctor Who have been removed to avoid any copyright issues. So it's like a fan novel?
I don't know. Death Comes to Time is like a 2001 webcast, kind of like comic book motion picture thing with Sylvester McCoy as the Doctor. I have never seen this. Apparently it's decent. But yeah, I don't understand what it is. But yeah, it's basically, we own the rights to the character, but we don't own the rights to Doctor Who. So it's kind of like K9. That's what we just covered, K9.
Interesting. If you go onto Arc Beetle Press's website, which is the publisher's, it is a barely put together website. It's like hardly functional. It's very plain and boring, and there's lots of walls of text. Apparently it's an indie publishing company, so they're very small. But on their like pull out side bit, they've got like their home, their about, the contact, and then the Minister of Chance. So maybe this is the first book that they're actually publishing through this publishing company.
Yeah.
Which is
apparently the guy who wrote this book is also the director of that webcomic thing.
Okay.
So it's one of those weird things of like the Doctor Who universe is so much bigger than we can comprehend. Because there's so much unofficial shit, but it's also official technically.
Okay, this place has done another Doctor Who book. Hang on.
What?
They've done An Elegance of Time and Space, a 50th anniversary poem book. A Doctor Who poem book for the 50th anniversary was published by this publishing house as well. So they've...
Interesting.
Yeah. This is a terrible website. Yeah, there's a strange kind of Doctor Who, not so really Doctor Who related book coming that I definitely won't get.
Yeah, I won't get it either because it's just going to be shit, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it might be good.
the fact he was played by Stephen Fry is technically interesting, but I don't care about the character because it's just the guy wanting to basically be like, oh yeah, I wrote an episode of Doctor Who, buy my book if you like Doctor Who, even though that's nothing to do with Doctor Who.
Yeah, but it's a good way of getting sales because Doctor Who fans are like, every other sci-fi fans, obsessive and weird.
But yeah, the last thing we have for next month is Doctor Who Origins, which is basically the comic book for the Fugitive Doctor. I don't know if I'm interested in this.
I'm not interested in Doctor Who comics, really.
Yeah.
I usually find the art style distracting in Doctor Who comics. I don't think I'm a fan of him.
Yeah,
I like the writing. The writing's good, but meh.
My problem with Doctor Who comics is it goes way too far out of the realms of what they could do on a show, and it's just distracting. Like when the Doctor hangs around with a bunch of little aliens, which would be like, okay, but that would cost way too much money for a BBC CGI budget.
Yeah, but that's the joy of comics, isn't it? Is you can do stuff you wouldn't see on TV. You'd get that. You get that experience you wouldn't get anywhere else. If you could only do it within the limits of the BBC budget on the comic books, why are you buying the comic books? Do it because you get big. It's like you could write a Doctor Who book and say that they were hanging out with a 5,000-foot tall giant. Because it's in a book, you can do what you like.
But yeah, this comic book promises that we'll discover why this regeneration became known as the Fugitive. Are you interested in finding out why?
I thought they were on the run from the Division at some point.
Yeah,
wasn't that the reason?
I don't remember why. To be honest, why?
Because wasn't the Division looking for them on the Jadoon, or the Jadoon the Jadoon were looking for them?
But
in that
why?
one? Because
she went to
betray the Division.
She went to jail prison, but then that was only Jodie Whittaker who went to jail prison, not the Fugitive Doctor. And then she got freed by John Barrowman, which we don't talk about anymore.
It makes my brain hurt thinking about Jodie's era at times, honestly. That is the end of our news segment. We are going to talk about some just non-Doctor Who related stuff for the next 10-20 minutes probably to wrap up the episode. So let's just jump into that. What have you been watching, Scott?
Better Call Saul.
Yeah, I've been watching Better Call Saul as well. It's the mid-season finale just happened, and me and you both were like, "Oh my god!"
I had to wait 1 hour for your reaction, and I wanted to spoil it so bad because I was on the floor shocked.
It was I had a verbal reaction, and when I have a verbal reaction when I'm watching something by myself, it's affected me.
Let's just say
such a good cliffhanger.
There's a point where a candle flickers and I jumped out of my seat because of what it implies. It is so fucking good.
When the candle flickered, I sent you a text in all caps being like, "Oh no!" Better Call Saul is currently on its mid-season hiatus and the last season of the show as well. So if you've not seen it, there's a perfect opportunity for you to start, because I started watching it when it aired, and then I stopped, and then I started watching it again like a couple months ago.
Yep.
And I was not expecting to be ready to watch this new season live, and I caught up in time to watch this new season live. It is an extremely well written show.
I think we were near the end of March and you were like, I'm not sure if I should watch Breaking Bad again or watch Better Call Saul, and I'm like, Better Call Saul is a perfect time to jump in.
Yeah. And it was. I've been hooked.
Fucking amazing.
It's very, very, very good. Oh, look, a Breaking Bad t-shirt. What a loser. What a loser.
But yeah, you've also been watching Breaking Bad.
I did just start watching Breaking Bad, and I'm already at the end of season 1. That first season is so bingeable. I'm also, something that I never realized before, and this definitely will not be new knowledge to Breaking Bad fans, is there's a line of dialogue Skylar says in season 1 that her baby's due in 10 weeks time, and I don't think she gives birth for at least another half season, maybe whole other season, which
I can't remember when she stops being pregnant,
because it takes a long time.
that whole show famously takes place over a span of 2 years, because in the first episode you see Walter White eating breakfast, and the bacon
50.
is arranged in the letter 50, or the number 50.
Yeah.
I mean, in the final it's 52, so it's a whole 2 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Same with Better Call Saul, which is interesting.
Yeah, although Better Call Saul fell into a trapping that Breaking Bad didn't, in that everybody got really old in Better Call Saul.
That's also because of the fact that, it's a prequel series, and yet everybody looks 15 years older than they did in season 1 of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, and
it's
everyone looks a lot skinnier as well. Everybody lost weight. Like,
yeah, it's gonna be jarring when Mike and Saul
pop
into Breaking Bad, because it's gonna be so distracting to my brain.
Yeah. I forget at times that Better Call Saul's a prequel, because he looks so old now. But
so do I.
The writing's honestly so good, you do not think about that when you're watching it. You get hooked into the characters.
Yeah, it's fucking great. But yeah, we should be able to talk about fucking Obi-Wan and Stranger Things, but that's coming out tomorrow.
Oh my god. Yes, it is. I am so not ready for Obi-Wan. It's actually out today. If you're listening to the podcast on release, it's out today. Which is
it came out the second this podcast came out.
Oh wow! Look at that. We're on that Disney schedule. Yeah. God, I'm not ready for Obi-Wan. My heart can't take it.
But yeah, I just finished watching all the prequels and some episodes of Clone Wars. Clone Wars is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Episodes 1 and 2 of the prequels, not so much.
Amazing.
It's also the 20th anniversary of fucking the Clone Wars. No, sorry, Attack of the Clones this weekend.
Yeah, yikes.
It's also Star Wars Celebration.
I think it's happening right now, actually, because I just saw on Twitter they were talking about Andor.
Which is insane, because it just came out of nowhere. I remember the last Celebration, I was tuned into the live stream. I basically watched all of it.
Yeah. I tend to just look at the news. I don't really... the only type of corporate events I used to watch was E3. I would always watch E3 live, and now E3's dead. So,
when Carrie Fisher was still alive, the last convention we did while she was still alive, we had a really good one-woman show with Carrie Fisher, and it was just her telling stories about her time on the set. It was really entertaining.
She was an entertaining lady.
Warwick Davis had a show, and Anthony Daniels had a show. It was a really entertaining weekend. There was so much good live stream goodness out of that. Now when I look at the schedule, I'm like, none of this really interests me. I don't care to tune into any of this press conferences things.
Yeah, I'll just look at the highlights.
Maybe we'll get a Mando trailer. Probably not.
No, I doubt it. They've just started shooting Ahsoka. I think Andor's next to come out on the schedule, so they spoke about the release for Andor.
Too much Star Wars or enough Star Wars?
I think there's enough Star Wars at the moment. If they were doing these TV shows and the films, I think it would be a bit overwhelming, because if I had to keep up with Star Wars films and Star Wars TV shows and the Marvel films and the Marvel TV shows, it would be too much. Right now I can keep up with the Marvel films and TV shows and the Star Wars TV shows easy enough.
I think we just found out that the Rian Johnson trilogy is going to be put on hold while he does the Knives Out stuff. Yeah. Which I'm looking forward to that Knives Out sequel. That first movie was amazing.
I liked the first one, but I predicted the twist.
Same here, especially when the dogs start barking.
It was really early in the movie. I went, I was like, oh, that's who it is, and I was right.
It's like the trailers basically give it away, because there's a scene where the guy is being barked at by dogs, and then later on was the plot point. I
didn't really. I watched the teaser trailer and then got sold on the movie. I was like, I'm done. I'm sold. And then I watched.
It's a really fun movie, though.
Well, yeah, it's very fun. Definitely very fun, and it was a nice redemption for Rian Johnson after the backlash he got from fans for The Last Jedi. He then came out with a movie which was loved by everybody.
Which he did not deserve that backlash.
No, it's the best sequel. I will go on record. It's the best sequel because it does something different.
Yeah, and also I think Taika Waititi is doing
his trilogy's next. His trilogy, I think it is next.
Which I imagine will come out in 2025, which sounds so far away, but it's only 3 years away.
He's been working on it. I remember it must be 2017 or 18. He got announced that he was working on that trilogy.
They all got pretty much announced at the same time, but we've heard nothing about them since.
Yeah. There's also the Game of Thrones guys were going to get a trilogy as well, which made them rush the finish of Game of Thrones, and they botched it up so badly they got fired. So,
Oh,
yeah, rest in peace that. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in Star Wars. But in the Marvel side of things, I've been rewatching Daredevil, and it's very good. It's very good. It's too many episodes still. It's Netflix issue of every season's 13 episodes, but it doesn't need to be. But it's entertaining. It's
and we're all 60 minutes as well, which was way too much.
Yeah.
That's why I like the Disney model of we're getting episodes
every
weekly,
and they're as
there's
long
going
as
to
they
be
need
8
to
episodes, and it's going to be like 40 to 50 minutes at most.
Yeah,
That's the best.
it is. I love weekly release of television.
Whereas bloody Netflix, on the other hand, we're going to drop
God.
7 episodes of Stranger Things in one weekend, and it's all going to be 75 minutes long. And then we're going to do the season final, which is 2.5 hours long. Insane.
Oh my God, I just with Stranger Things, I liked season 1 that came out like 15,000 years ago.
2016.
Oh my God,
It's just insane.
I did not like season 2. I really, really did not like season 2 at all. I thought it was terrible.
I thought it was okay.
And then season 3 I adored. It was the best season. It was just, it redeemed the show so hard for me because I really didn't like season 2. I didn't like season 2 so much, I wasn't going to watch season 3 until people were like, season 3 is really good, you really have to watch it. And I was like, oh, okay, fine, I'll watch one episode. And then I binged the entire season,
Season 3 had a really fun tone, whereas season 4 at the moment, it looks great.
They put so much money into it, oh my God.
So much money, and it's so fucking long. Like... The whole season is like 9 episodes, and the whole thing is going to be like 15 hours or something like that.
Maybe it's going to be good. I'm glad we don't have a Stranger Things podcast.
Imagine getting all those episodes out in one weekend.
I know. It's impossible. It's impossible to do that,
That's why doesn't Netflix do stuff weekly? Like
they do with some things, but like they're not their popular stuff.
It's usually the shows like Better Call Saul, which is imported from America. But I think it works so much better because you'll have longer subscribers.
It keeps people interested in the show for longer, rather than because that was the issue when Daredevil came out. I remember the conversation was, everybody gets really excited about Daredevil for a weekend, and then nobody talks about it for a year.
Whereas with Disney Plus, they release all their shows weekly, and you have conversations about Moon Knight. I keep saying Moonlight.
See, that's funny, is you usually did that as a typo, but you just had a typo in real life.
No, I don't use it. I don't do it as a typo. I do it as just my brain farts.
No, Moon Knight, yeah.
It's between Moon Knight, Dark Knight, and Moonlight.
There are 3 very different films.
But yeah, the Moon Knight conversation lasted about 6 weeks, and then, like 2 or 3 weeks later, you have all the conversations about Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And then, after that, you have conversations about...
whatever's next.
Miss
Marvel?
Miss Marvel is coming out in June, and then we have... She-Hulk in August.
Bad trailer.
CGI looks shit, but the show itself looks fun.
Yeah, they can still work on the CGI, which I hope they do, because it was terrible. It was genuinely so bad. But
I think they just released a new trailer that improved the CGI, but I haven't seen the trailer yet, so I can't tell you if the CGI looks better.
Yeah.
But just paint her green. Why not just paint her green? It looks so much better. Do what they do with Gamora.
Yeah. But yeah, that weekly release, I'm on Reddit a lot these days. It's really taking over as my main social media from Twitter, which is great because Reddit's so much more fun than Twitter. But I go on Reddit, basically every day or so, but the Reddit Better Call Saul page has been amazing because it's all the fans there every week discussing the show, posting memes and, having this community, talking about theories and stuff about it. I would not touch a Marvel subreddit with my, a Netflix or like a Stranger Things subreddit with anything, because if I go in there, everything will get spoiled for me. I can't look at anybody's ideas or any funny memes because they're all going to be full of spoilers. Yeah, like it's
Yeah, it goes back to the water cooler thing. Like on a Monday morning,
Yeah.
you talk about what was on television the previous night to people at work or something.
Mhm.
Whereas you can't do it with Netflix show because it's like, oh yeah, you're on episode 5, I'm on episode 7, so I can't talk about it yet. Just watch it.
yeah.
It ruins the conversation. It doesn't work the same. It's really sad.
Yeah, but there's so much TV coming out. So much TV coming out.
In June, there's 6 shows or 8 shows in like the next 6 weeks that's coming out for me, which is insane.
I think I was like 5 or 6 that I'm actually interested in, that I'll be watching. But that is also insane because I also watch movies all the time and play video games all the time and make this podcast and work. Like
too much media, man. There's so many streaming services, too many channels.
Yeah.
Or there's actually less channels now because all the channels are just shutting down. Like all the Disney channels, BBC is shutting down.
It's going online. It's going online.
It's going online, but still, it's going to be sad to see like all those. Remember the continuity announcers in between shows, like Ian and Hack or Ed and Out Show.
Yeah.
All that fun stuff. It's going to be sad to see them go.
Different time.
And also the live Saturday morning shows like Dick and Dom. That's going to be gone as well because nobody's going to be watching them on streaming.
Time moves. You know, it doesn't slow down for anybody. You're a dying man now. Goodbye. You know, I don't have too much other stuff to talk about. I've been playing Far Cry 6, which was a Far Cry game. You know, I quite like the Far Cry series, and Far Cry 6 released this year to no fanfare. It just kind of quietly released and nobody talked about it. And it's fine.
I remember all the hype because Gus Fring was in it, but
Yeah.
when the game came out and I saw nothing about it.
And it's fun. It's a functional game. There's basically no glitches. It's a Far Cry game, so you know what you're getting. You know, you're going around, you're taking bases, you're doing missions. It's exploding, there's good action. The reason nobody's talking about it is because it doesn't do anything special. It's like a game that works, and you get what you asked for. And you know, it's fun, and I'll finish it. I don't know, in the next few months or so. But you know, I've been enjoying it. It's been a good time. And Giancarlo Esposito as the villain is excellent. You know,
he's always excellent.
He's always excellent, but he is very good as the villain in Far Cry 6 as well. Very, very good game. Yeah.
I don't think I have anything else to talk about.
Awesome. Well, we're at the end of this very long news episode. Feature length, look at that. You could stick it in a Blu-ray for Doctor Who. But in the meantime, what have we got coming up next week, Scott?
Oh, God. I was supposed to put it at the end of a document. I forgot. What do we have coming up next week? We've got the second season, the first box set of the second season of Christopher Eccleston's Big Finish stuff.
Yeah.
And then we got The Curse of Fatal Death, which is a comic relief 1999 thing written by Stephen Moffat, which is fun. And then we've got Turn Left, so it's going to be a very odd
I love Turn
month.
Left. It's not a themed month, June.
No, really not.
And not a themed month at all. We got a box set, a comedy thing, and then a very dramatic episode of Doctor Who, but a very good episode with Donna, so it's technically relevant to whatever's happening with them. But in the meantime, while we wait for that, you can send us an email at whowatcheswhopod@gmail.com. Actually, we had an email.
Oh?
Well, no, we haven't. This is relevant to... You know about this already. A few weeks ago, I was perusing our inbox.
You think I remember?
You will when I start talking. A few weeks ago, I was perusing our inbox, and I was like, oh, no new emails, whatever. I had looked at the spam, and the spam had a 1.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, we have spam mail. Let me check that. Maybe somebody's email got sent into spam. And it was captioned hello. I was like, oh crap, okay. I opened it up, and it's from this person called Zanda. So if you're listening, Zanda, I have emailed you back. Why are you ignoring me? And they sent an email saying, I haven't got a reply from you after my last email. They never sent an email. And so I sent them an email, and I was like, hello, apologies, I can't seem to find another email you've sent us. It's possible it got sent into spam and got deleted without us noticing. Large amounts of sorry if that's the case. I've sent you to not spam, so if you'd like to email again, we'll be sure to reply. And they didn't reply. and they didn't send anything. So I sent another email, and I went, if you're after a photo of my face, by the way, I just have to confirm that you're actually a real person, you know, and then I'll send you a photo of my face. And then they ignored me again. So I've been ghosted by this random, and it's upset me. So Xanda, if you're listening, send another email in, please.
Also, Mathew, we've just got another email in from a Nigerian prince. He says, "Hello, can you send me £5 million?" So yeah, we should get on that as soon as possible.
I mean, we can't leave a prince waiting. That's a big response. He's listening. Maybe he'll help us out if we help him out. You know?
Oh, there's also sexy Asian girls in our area, so we should get back to that as well.
It seems like it could be spam, but it's the fact that it was written out like hello, and it was like, why didn't you read out my last email? Like, it's so specific as to why didn't you reply to my email? I don't know. Maybe it is spam. Maybe it's not. I thought we had a friend, and we didn't have a friend. It was upsetting.
A friend who, for once, isn't Ewan.
Yeah, I know.
I'm tired of that guy.
I know.
What an awful person. I hope he's listening to this.
But yeah, send us an email at whowatcheswhopod@gmail.com, and we will read it out on this part of the news segment, and I will also reply with a photo of my face as advertised. In the meantime, you can find us on Facebook at Who Watches Who, on Twitter at Watches Doctor, on YouTube at Who Watches Who, where this podcast is available in video form, and you can see the giant floating mushrooms that are behind me. In audio form, it is available anywhere you get your podcasts. There is a heap of links in the description for everything you could possibly desire. Follow me on Twitter at Cloth223, all the other jazz stuff, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.